to rock and roll. So, first of all, welcome to the show. Did you get a haircut? You get shaved up? You ready to go?
I got a shave and I really don't like it. They just left some pieces on it. I don't. Anyway, I could have done without the shave, but I did get my hair cut. All the curls are knocked off. So I got to get professional for 2024, man. It's getting ready to get competitive. So I had to put my business warrior look on.
Oh, you can say shit. It's okay. Like I said, we're uncensored. And so whatever platforms we're on, I don't know if we're on 4 or 5 right now or just on one, but we're going to be looking at your comments throughout. I'm going to be looking down here. So for those of you who are joining us on X and Twitter, we're going to be talking about predictions for 2024. We're going to talk about perspectives. None of it is financial advice. None of it is really factual. It's just our opinion. We're going to bring our thoughts and we're going to bring the reason why we think that. But mostly it's going to be the Gary Cardone show because we've gotten a chance to talk in spaces and Gary has hosted and I have kind of been the sidekick and co-hosted. But dude, you have a wealth of knowledge about many different things that I believe people want to know about. And 2023 was kind of a weird year. So can you talk about really kind of how you felt that 2023 unfolded for you?
Well, I don't think I'm good. It's good to be doing this with you. I really appreciate you. This was your idea, so I really commend you for it. 2023, I found 2023 to be a pain in the butt, man. Quite frankly, like a serious pain in the ass. But I've been cleaning up a bunch of stuff from probably some mistakes I made 12 years ago, 10 years ago, just having to clean some stuff up. So it's been a challenging year. But I think, the planet's pretty disturbed right now. I mean, quite frankly, I wouldn't say it was our stellar, trophy year that the world wants to put up on a shelf and say, hey, look at us, look how great we did. So on the business front though, dude, this has been probably the best year maybe in 20 or 30 years of my career, where I'm very, very clear on what's getting ready to happen and how to take advantage of it. So that's been really, really awesome. So I'm feeling invigorated. I go through this every 8 to 12 years, that I just kind of unplug, man. Don't know what I'm doing, and then I start studying the marketplace, and I'm very excited about what I see, like in Bitcoin, blockchain, commercial real estate. Actually, is like I've turned the corner of going, oh, now these values are something I can understand. Before I just thought $250,000 a door, dude, not for me. But so I think there's a lot of challenges, but I think like you, I think there's a lot of people looking at, hey, what can I do? There's no barriers to, this was the year for me to realize there are no barriers to moving into the new world. None. And that's the great opportunity, I think. So, I'd rate it a 7
out of 10. Okay.
out of a 10.
We have our Twitter fans.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Well, we have,
10.
If you're going 70% and we get into 2024 and we're 90%, we're good. I'm going to flash some of these topics because a lot of you on X Spaces are wondering what we're going to talk about. Nothing's off limits. If you get something that sparks your interest, hit it in the comments section. I saw Nico, we saw Emergent. Oh my gosh, now you're really pouring in. You've got Divergent, you got G Bunny, we got Gregory. So let's talk about some of these topics. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to flash a few of these every now and then. We might talk about Bitcoin. We might talk about oil and gas because I know that's Gary's forte. We might talk about electric. What's the grid going to look like? How does EVs play into this? We're going to talk about currency and fiat. What does that mean? Is it going to be just as strong in 2024, weaker, or is it going to stay the same? Maybe a little bit and you talked about commercial. We might talk about some residential housing. Maybe a little bit of banking as well. Talk about BOA, a little Jamie Dimon, what his predictions are, and maybe wrap it up with a little what's your pick there on that presidential candidate list. So nothing's off limits. Let's first of all start off with this, if you don't mind, Gary. Bitcoin. This is your baby. This is what you invest in. This is what you talk about in our spaces. And usually when we talk, you have a good way of breaking this down simply and in elementary type form. So for those of you watching, if you've never heard of Bitcoin, you probably lived under a rock. You didn't understand anything that we just said. That's cool. You're probably going to get educated. So your predictions on Bitcoin for 2024. Oh, the hat comes out.
Yeah, baby. I bought this hat. I marked this hat. I bought this hat in 2021. So it's been 3 years, really 3 years in this space studying it. What's my prediction? My prediction is that it's going to be adopted by some major league institutions, and it's going to be sold to anyone and everyone listening to this that hasn't even heard or know of Bitcoin. It will be sold in your mutual fund. It will be given to you, allocated to you. And this is what the adoption needed to happen. I think this is irrespective of price, this is a monster moment in Bitcoin's history, because it is being validated by every U.S. regulatory agency by simply printing rules and guideposts and expectations of what the taxation, the reporting, all that type of stuff. When they start making rules like that, this is validating. When they regulate an industry, it is validating that industry. So I would say at today's price, this is probably one of the greatest risk-adjusted 4 to 8 year investment theses I have ever seen in my life. It has no human error risk whatsoever. No, like that's impossible to find in any other investment. So I think you're just going to get, you're going to get a lot of people much more interested, educated. You're going to see, I think that the price will move and it will attract attention. And quite frankly, the Bitcoin's 15, this product's been around 15 years. This is not like yesterday's, pet project. Okay. Bitcoin has been around 15 years and has been attacked by so many different angles, internal, external, from all different sovereigns. The Chinese banned it 3 times, right? And then they keep coming back. So nothing seems to stop the amount of intellectual capital moving into this market. I mean, all you have to do is go on YouTube and see some of the people that are moving into this space. Dan Tapiro, he's been in it forever. Mark Yusko. I mean, there's so many. Anthony Scaramucci's a bunch of funds on Wall Street. A bunch of guys that have made a tremendous amount of money by stepping out of Wall Street in the old VC world and moving into the digital world. And they've crushed it. Now, some of that's come with a lot of carnival, a lot of circus. I think one of the great things for 2023 for Bitcoin was you have a regulator walking in and basically taking all the bad actors out. Like, you have 3 people now that have been, incarcerated. By any stretch of the imagination, it's incarceration. Binance is probably going to become a place that people can hold crypto and feel good about it, because I think the government basically is going to, see that entire book. It will see Coinbase's entire book. So the government's now kind of like at least thinking they're in control. And whether it was 41,000 or 51,000 a day or 61,000, if you look at it for 4 to 8 years, I think it will exceed every other investment thesis, and we'll know in 4 years. So I invest with Grant for 10 years, and this Bitcoin, this is a cool thing, right? Bitcoin's a very interesting. You can get in and out in 4 years. You can get in and out in 3 days if you need to. I don't suggest that, but you can get in and out. You can't liquidate an apartment building easily. So to me, it's going to fit in. That's the other thing. I think the Bitcoin community, the digital asset community, needs to. They keep saying, "Hey, we're going to take Bitcoin's going to eat away from bonds. Bitcoin's going to eat away from housing. Bitcoin's going to eat away from equities." Why does it have to eat away from anything? There's a lot of money on the sidelines. It can get new money. I think this will be an additive. It will be a 12th or 13th asset class, and it will get its proper allocation, and doesn't necessarily mean something else is going to hurt. So it's, dude, I don't see any risk. I see no risk here now. So to me, this is 2023, and when this ETF flies, whether it gets approval January the 8th, January the 12th, or June of 2025, I actually would prefer that. I would prefer we're not giving anybody any approvals. Everybody's fucked. Price goes down to 25, and we get to buy some for the next 6 months at 25,000, and then the ETF will be launched. So anyway, that's my. What do you think, man? Because you've been really digging into this pretty heavily in the last 6 months.
Mainly being a student. And when you start to take a step back and study what people say and their perspectives, this was an important comment that Sean made that I wanted to ask you about specifically. I love the fact that it's a different world. And, the more we learn about it, the more we understand it, the more we can wrap our head around it and understand it's a great investment. And it's going to be one of those asset classes that I believe is going to be far superior than a 401k, burying money in fiat. And Sean Dunn, my man, you made the program, you made the podcast. So he asked, 2024 is going to be wild. Now, he also asked thoughts on SBF having 6 charges dropped just recently today. And it's all over X. It's all over Twitter. We saw the video where Maxine Waters blowing him a kiss as he's going by. And, we've got $100 million in donations from this guy to Congress and to other politicians. How does that affect the ETF? How does that affect how the government looks at it? And I'm curious, do you see SBF getting fully pardoned at this point? Because they're talking about a possible pardon. And I'm curious what your thoughts would be on that.
Well, I think what Sean's talking about is that they dropped all the charges, federal charges about political fixing. What's the word? What do they call it? Sean can probably blast it in the thing. And I think
that so fast. I can't get to it.
That's pretty telling, right? Hey, look, let's not have any discovery on Epstein, and let's not have any discovery on 100, 200, 300. I bet you it was more than 100, bro. I've been building businesses since I was 27 years old. I have never seen a man show up in a market in 3 years with so much money and be able to seed himself into multiple anchors all over the world, specifically in the U.S., as he had a Bahamian trading center, which is like red flag, red flag, and red flag. And I actually think that this was an entire program put out to destroy the exchanges, to put on a tremendous carnival, disreputable kind of reputation for crypto. And they smashed a bunch of VCs, they smashed a bunch of private equity, and they smashed a bunch of ultra wealth money that really wanted to come into the space. And because the ETF wasn't available, that is still not available today, many corporations, companies, and family offices simply cannot buy Bitcoin. They don't have the charter to buy a commodity, for instance, or they don't know how to, they're not going to rejig their entire business model to do accounting on crypto. It's very, very different. You'd have to train your staff. You'd have to change your banking, all your privacy. You'd have to change multi-sig, multi-authority. It's just, it doesn't happen in really short order. So, that they're waiving these charges. If those charges were waived against, if those charges were on me, it wouldn't be getting waived. Okay, like this is what needs to stop in this country. We clearly have a 2-class system, and you and I ain't in it, and we're never going to be in it, or invited to it. So for me, I'm glad he's off the market, but I think, had they not been able to start that rock rolling down the mountain, they were never going to get Binance. And what they did to get Binance in 7 days, and CZ, who's a Chinese national, I think, to fly to America, surrender to the authorities. He didn't have to do that. So I would love to know what that conversation was. Maybe it was, you will have banking problems all over the world for the rest of your life. Your entire family won't be able to bank anywhere. I mean, I don't know how people pull that off, but I am told, when a guy that was running from Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and he was kind of a Trumper, well, I can't remember the guy's name, really brash spoken individual. I actually like the guy, very sensible, but I wouldn't I? And he's banking with one of the oldest banks in the world. Most people won't even know the name, Coutts, Coutts. I used to bank with him in England. He woke up one morning, could not process anything, not a wire, no cash, no credit cards. You're shut off. So this is happening now. We cannot pretend like this is not happening. It's been happening. The United States have been doing this to other countries for quite a long time. They just did it to Russia, right? When they did the whole Ukraine thing. You stop everyone's credit cards. You start seizing any kind of yachts or assets all over the world. I don't see any of this stuff working, okay? Because what ends up happening is people just change their routes of moving money around. And you're literally driving some of the largest economies in the world off the US dollar by doing this shit. You're literally going, I'm a terrorist. You really need to do business with me, but I'm not going to insure. It's a little bit like our schooling system in the United States. I had this cognition, and we're definitely not going to stay on track, are we? But I had this cognition this year, and it was, what did COVID teach me about education? That U.S. citizens living in most districts, counties, parishes, wherever you live in the United States, require you to send your kids to school. Require you. It is not an option, okay, unless you maybe go homeschool or whatever, and you do it legally. But it's not an option for us to send our kids to school, provide them an education. Yet what we learned during COVID, the teachers and administrators are not obligated to show up. There is no promise by the school system that the doors are going to be open. The teachers are going to be there, much less any of the quality that you would get from a competitive marketplace. And this is the problem with education. It's no longer competitive. It's sloppy. It's middle of the road. And some HR lady or man pretending to be a lady, I don't know, man, but HR must have come into the education system last 50 years and snowflake the shit out of it. Because I don't see anyone learning anything.
That was a topic, by the way, and that was a topic that we had. So let's shift into, and I want to make this, I want to make this comment. Number one, Lion, I'm not intelligent. If you could have understood, been in our spaces, I'm not the smart one here. That's why we got Gary on here. Mike Mack, my man, I appreciate you. He says he goes to prison in March. Oh, we got everybody here. Look at all the comments. I got to keep up with them, man. You, bro. Can you see him?
I can see him now. Who was that? Let's punt him out.
It's nothing. Hey, man, we need trolls. We need haters. Bring them. ML says Gary is cuter than Grant. So I think, ladies, if you chime in on that, I think,
sweetie.
Yeah,
you never know nowadays.
I don't know, but when we talk about we're not knowing if we're a guy or a girl here, this is another thing that kind of crept into schools all of a sudden, where it's really getting exposed, and the covers are getting thrown off, so to speak. So now we're talking about public schooling, and we're talking about certain states even trying to push for kids to have the right to sign off and consent to surgery without their parents' permission. What are your thoughts on that? How is that even possible? How is that logical? And how does that make sense to anybody who's a human being who has kids?
I don't even think it deserves it shouldn't even be allowed to be a question. It's so obscene. Okay, it is so irresponsible. I mean, butchers. Okay, you're fucking butchers. Any doctor that would do that is evil butcher. What are we doing, man? I mean, like, this is, if you said this happened 800 years ago, I might go, yeah, they were fucked up, huh? Some tribal ritual group, some kind of like surrendering virgins to the freaking gorilla every year. I mean, like, this is that level kind of shit. It's stupid. It tells me Americans have turned into total robots, man. You know, why do those people do that in those tribes? All the, you know, religious stories about the cults, and they all drink something. Why? Like, that's where America is. I think it's no less. Who was the guy that did a bunch of poison at that camp that time? You know,
The Branch Davidian compound,
yeah,
or was
that's
that?
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Check out what just happened 3 years ago, dude. We had 170 million people stick a needle in their body. Yes, please give it to me. I want to be a part of the salvation of the next generation. Like, that's what it seemed like to me. I had people getting angry at me because I wasn't vaccinated, and I never said one thing about them getting vaccinated. Fucking put whatever you want in your body, dude. I'm a just do whatever you want to do kind of guy, because I don't think you can stop it anyway. And those that have discipline will self-regulate, and those that don't won't.
Well, now we have two issues. We have vaccination schedules, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get deplatformed on this one. So when we were at Raw and Uncensored, we meant it, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I see Kevin G. Hello to you.
Could we get blown out of here because of this?
Easily, but that's okay. Hey, man, that's free speech, right? No, I don't mind saying it, because if we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. But now we're talking about, you know, vaccine scheduling, and we're also talking about schooling. I don't know if you saw what Grant put. It was on Instagram yesterday, I think, or today. And he talked about every bad decision that he made was in high school. Yeah, go ahead.
Who'd you say?
Your brother.
Who?
Your brother was talking about an Instagram post. And if you'll remember the post, I'll just refresh you. He's like, man, every bad decision I made was in high school or in school. He goes, I learned about drugs in high school. I learned about girls in high school. I learned about everything you didn't want, every bad habit. And when you picked it up, why are we teaching kids bad habits? What is school really doing for our kids to prepare them for, you know, something like a career? All we're teaching them is the same generalized thing. And most are here, here, or here. They're not even in the same basket. People learn differently. Kids learn faster, some more than others. They want different skill sets. And how are we going to train that for AI? Because that's another topic we've got. Where do you see the school system going publicly? Do you see that failing and being replaced by another alternative form of education?
Yeah, I think the school system has failed. Period. It's not failing. It has failed, man. Just go do a survey. Go Grok or Bard question somebody in the audience. Please do this. Okay, what is the reading level of a ninth grader across America? Okay, I mean, fourth grade maybe. Watch, I'll bet you $100. I'll give somebody $100 if it's above fourth grade level. So the first person that finds it, $100. If it's above, what did I say?
I think fourth grade.
Yeah, fourth grade. It didn't help me. I mean, the only thing it helped me do was it gave me a little certificate that allowed me to go to a major corporation that I would never work in again after I got that initial job. And furthermore, no one ever asked me for my resume after that. 22 years old, never asked for. The people that asked me for my resumes were not interested, really, you know. So, and now we have an economy that we don't need school. Okay, we do not need anyone teaching anyone how to speak French. We have technology that can translate this so accurately today. Okay, like literally you and I can buy some software right now, $30, and this turns into a Spanish conversation. Greg, I asked you to do that. I need to do that, okay? Because I want to be on the front end of this thing. And, you know, the conversations come up and it goes, oh my gosh, yeah, but what if you make a mistake? You know, what if the translator makes a mistake? But I'm talking about my lips are speaking Spanish, dude. It's unbelievable if you haven't seen it. And so my point is, if I can do that, and you and I did a broadcast for an hour, and a Spanish or a Russian person or a Hindu, okay, an Indian was listening to that, and they got 98% of it right, it's better than my child's ever going to communicate in French, much less be able to do it in multiple languages. So, like, what do we compare shit, weird shit, dude. Well, they need to learn how to speak French because why? That's so old age, right? And they're never going to do it as good as the translator in the speed that it would do it. So I don't know what school is going to accomplish for anyone moving into the next world, other than you're doing engineering, if you're selling, doing rockets, really complex chemistry. Even that though, dude, like we discovered in 2023 that all the scientists for hundreds of years have been saying that the Big Bang created this universe, that was the first moment of everything, which I have never really understood. Like how could that one moment, the singularity, right? And now we realize our math is off massively. Not kind of, sort of, dude. Massively off. It wasn't the Big Bang. So for 200 years, we've been, and we're still teaching our kids the Big Bang right this second. And everyone knows it's not accurate. At least it's not accurate. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Was it the first one, the last one, the third one? That's the shit they don't know. And that's pretty perplexing, dude.
Well,
Like we have a telescope in the middle of the universe right now picking up stuff, and we're like, whoa, maybe we got it all wrong. We do not even know how to define gravity, yet we talk about it all the time as if we do. There is no proper definition for gravity to this moment in time.
Yeah. So here's my question. And we'll get into this because at one point the Earth was the center of the universe, and then the sun became the center of the universe, and then the Milky Way became a galaxy. And if we're 6 million light years away, how can somebody look 6 million light years into the future if you can't even keep up with the speed of light? So that's a whole nother conversation. What languages did you take in high school? What did you sign up for, and what did you speak?
I might have signed up for Spanish, but I never got it.
So no French, no German. You didn't get that opportunity in your high school?
I was married to an English woman once.
Yeah.
For one day. No, just kidding.
Once?
And she would go to dinner parties with me and what have you. And we were at a big shindig, bunch of British, European people. And guy walks up to her and says, Annie, how many languages does Gary speak? And she said, she was very British, dude. Dear boy. And she said, he can barely speak English well. So I think that's kind of like, and for her, it was a double whammy joke, right? Because first off, none of us speak proper English. And secondly, she was really demeaning my entire family from coming from white trash, wrong side of the tracks, and not being able to speak good American.
You're from Louisiana, I'm from Texas, you know.
There's no need for that in the future, bro. There's not going to be a need for Excel spreadsheets. Like what we thought was awesome 20 years ago, Excel spreadsheets will no longer be able to serve the digital world. So there's going to be software companies building all types of things for the digital world.
So do we not have to type anymore? Is it just, in our brain, we think about it, it goes to the screen? Is that kind of the future as far as what we're looking for in AI?
I think that would be awesome. For me to be able to have a picture of a full concept of a story or an idea, and to be able to translate it in one package, that would be cool. I don't think my brain's big enough to handle all that information all at one time. That's why, a guy like me might actually consider like Neuralink. I'm old enough to go, Now I could see why you wouldn't want to do it. Okay. Cause you're young, but I look at it and go, wow, I got maybe 25 years on a good life. And I've been really rough on my body. So I may not even have 20 years. What would be the end of the world for me to jack into my mind? I know I have a lot of cool shit in my mind, and I have a lot of weird shit. But on the whole, if I had bigger pipes, I think it would be the ability to, unload a bunch of data at one time. And that's going to be our problem. And we're never going to keep up with a supercomputer or a quantum computer that's capable of doing that.
Yeah. Jay has a good question, and I think we're going to save this one because he's a good friend of mine, and he says, question, is XRP a great coin to invest in? If you know anything about Gary, he is all a Bitcoin maximalist because he understands the other altcoins don't have the kind of potential, and they don't have the same, I don't want to say volatility. That's not the right word. But Gary, what's your thought on XRP?
Well, I actually, what you just said is not completely right. I mean, I actually own Solana. I
Okay.
own XRP and one other. Well, I can't remember which one, but they're really tiny bets, right? XRP has, like, whatever anybody wants to say about XRP, guys, it has not performed well at all. Okay, like Bitcoin's gone up 100%, 125%, and XRP's at 63. So if you just look at the chart and the supply and demand, or at least the demand, it doesn't look like it's a well-performing company, product, token, whatever. The market cap of XRP is, let me just pull this up. That's the way I look at things. Like, hey, what's the market cap of this company, you know, of this entity? Call it however you want. At some point, it's going to have to make some money, man. You know what I'm saying? At some point, there has to be value. Now, do I think XRP Ripple has an in on the institutional business for payments? Yeah, probably. But XRP, but is it worth $36 billion? That's MasterCard, man. No, that's not MasterCard. Let's see how big MasterCard is, just out of curiosity. But you get my point. I mean, really? Dynegy was a company that size, and it owned power stations and utilities and real products, and it was generating cash and cash flow. So some of these are just, for me, they're just, I mean, I should sell my XRP. Based on the chart, I should sell my XRP. So I don't get too emotional or rational about it. Like, I owned a bunch of Ether, and I dumped it because it wasn't performing well. I like, cool, dude. Dump your mistakes as soon as you possibly can and move into a better position. You're not going to have sex with any of these tokens, okay? Ain't nobody going to bed with these tokens. Nobody's going to get any love. You ain't going to get a little slapping in your face if that's the kind of shit you like. You're not going to get a little kiss in the morning, right? You're not. You're also not going to have bad breath. You're not going to have divorces, lawsuits. But look, market cap of XRP is 33 billion, and the market cap of Bitcoin is 800 billion. Okay, 800 billion. Gold and silver. Facebook is worth less than Bitcoin today. I think in 2024, you're going to see Bitcoin eat away and not eat away. It's going to start leading a position over all the S&P companies. It takes them out first. It'll do up to $2 or $3 trillion, I think, in the next 2 years. So it'll triple at least. Well, you're bigger than everybody, bro. You're bigger than every S&P company. You're bigger than every public company. You're bigger than Aramco at that stage. And I think that's how it has to go. So you can't just go, oh, I'm going to go take out gold. And I don't think it's taking out gold. I think you're just going to see it gang. I don't think gold's going to get massively larger by new investors. It may go up in price because of all the global shit going on the planet, which has got to be great for gold, silver, ammo, guns, bread, water, food, community, and Bitcoin. Bitcoin's got it. Bitcoin should be the grand master of all masters in the world we're moving into, assuming we have power, okay, assuming we don't go into total meltdown city. So I take Bitcoin at $1 trillion market cap over XRP at 40, because I'm not holding XRP for a year. And I'm also not going to put 50% of my play into XRP. That's the other way to look at this. Hey, you know, I might bang a girl on a Saturday night that I don't know, maybe I wouldn't got married to. Okay, but you see my point, dude? I might do a one-dayer. Okay, a little troll trade.
A little short-term action.
Yes, get some beef, right? No pun intended. But if I'm looking at getting married to 4 or 5 years, you said there was no.
I just realized something. I gotta interject this. I just realized we're on 6 different platforms. I accidentally hit all instead of just X. So we got Facebook, we got LinkedIn, we've got all these folks, YouTube chiming in. I love this. No, keep going, man. And by the way, Lisa King is cracking up, so she's loving this conversation. Keep going. Your short-term one-night stand. Keep going.
XRP would be a bam wham. Thank you, ma'am. And Bitcoin is marrying the virgin 25-year-old who has an intelligence of a 52-year-old woman. How's that? And the emotional and the emotional content of such. That's what Bitcoin is. Okay, she is the preeminent apex queen goddess, and never goes insane, dude. And you can't produce too many of them. How many? Let me ask you a question, Storm. How many of what I just described as a partner, a 4 to 10, 15-year life partner, how many of those would you like to have options to buy? I mean, is that an infinite? You've met one, right? You're married to one.
She's not crazy, which I think if you take the top 1/2 of 1/4 of women, they're not crazy, but it's really hard to find. The second thing is you mentioned a 25-year-old.
Do you think that ratio different for men?
Yeah, I think men are just different. They're more logical, they're more sensible, they're more reasonable, they're providers, they're protectors. Women are more nurturers, and they're just all over the place. That's just kind of how their feminine energy works. I mean, we can definitely go here if we want to. My wife is watching, by the way, and she's watching on her new Twitter account. You're welcome, hun. We're still Gary. What was that, McGinna? Oh my gosh. Okay, don't look at the comments, Gary. Can you see the comments?
Oh, no?
Okay, that's good. Keep going. She's loving what you're doing. So you never know these days. I'm just saying women tend to be more emotional and not as logical when it comes to certain decisions. And it seems like that shift of that feminine energy is try to become the leader. And I'm going to get really canned for this one. But women need to understand when you're with a man, the man has certain energy to lead. And women, I don't want to say submit because that's a bad word to women, but women need to understand when a man leads, let them lead. If there's a time when a woman needs to lead, let the woman lead, and the man will eventually take back over. So there's a nice little dance in there. And what you just said about the coins, you got to know how to dance with them. You got to know how to dance with Doge. You got to know how to dance with ETH. And you got to be comfortable with it. You've got to be okay and secure with it. Just like you are with your choices of women, or if you're a woman and you're just with your choice of a man, expect men, certain one of them, if you're going to find them in a bar, don't expect it to be a good one. So if you find a coin on an exchange and it doesn't have a good track record, or it doesn't have good strength or foundation, why would you go invest in it? That's my thought.
Yeah. I mean, maybe play around with it, but
you don't want to take it home and marry it and put a ring on it.
You know, that's the other thing. I mean, if we're going to use these analogies, right? The other thing, Bitcoin, think about that 25, 28, 38, whatever year old girl, okay, that hey, this product does not age. There's no erosion, no corrosion, no nothing. It is the longest it is the longest call option that's ever been available in the history of mankind. It has no expiration date. It's staggering. I don't think most people really understand what that means. But, you know, if this coin continues to do what it has done, imagine what selling $100,000 call options of this product would be. And very few people can do that. In fact, I would say very, very few people can sell covered call options unless you have them. And I think one day I will be able to make a tremendous amount of money by letting people pay me. I'll sell them insurance, right, against my Bitcoin position. So it's just we've yet to see. Somebody asked in the thing, "Hey, are we early?" Dude, I don't even think anybody's in the stadium yet. This has been a little cricket game between a bunch of anarchists, basically. And, and those guys, if you look at the people on Wall Street that's come into this space, they're anarchists too. They were always on the fringes of Wall Street. They were not in the freaking system, dead in the system. They always played on the edges. This is a stepping stone of what you're seeing. Oh, wow, this is a real market, because you're seeing all the characteristics. The players show up. It's amazing how much IT is going in, like intellectual capital is going into this space. Okay, what else we got? We got other people. Any women offended? Or
We got Mary Lynn
anyone
cranking
on
up.
my comments?
Well, okay, so if you see the Facebook comments and somebody asked me, I am raising my hand stockpile. I can see all of your comments. They're amazing. Thank you. We see Mary Lynn from Tampa. She's in from St. Pete, so she's close to you. And we've got our Houstonian friends too. I want to shift gears a little bit, if you don't mind. And we've got a few extra topics here, and I know that this is going to be one that's probably going to shake up the system a little bit. Guys, gals, we have a choice to make in roughly 11 months. And as we go to the polls, you're going to see that this is a very interesting way. We've never seen an election like this. Gary is not really a political guy where he wants to dive in and really dig deep into this. So I'll just go surface level. You've gotten a chance to interview some of these candidates. And I would just say that you probably have even tried to push back on a few of them. And some of them are rock solid. Some of them are just, man, I'm just not going with that guy or that girl. What do you see in this election happening? Who do you see dropping out? What is your choice? What is your prediction? Who do you like?
Man, I'm not sure we even get to an election. I'm so pessimistic. I don't think that it's debatable. I don't even think the blue, the green, the pink side, or the middle side, or the red side, all these little tribes. First off, the tribe thing isn't working. Okay, so we basically have 50% of the people on one side, 50% of the people on the other side, and everybody hates each other. Hey, guys, if you're on either one of those sides, they have already won. Okay, they did this. All of this is about polarization. Everything that COVID did was to polarize you and I. I think they've overplayed their hand. Psychopaths always overplay their hand. Just give them some more rope, okay? Narcissists always choke themselves. You have to give them everything they want, and they will just purge and purge and purge after the feasting. They just don't know how to stop. And quite frankly, I disagree with you. I don't think women and men are any more or less emotional or stupid. I think 2.5% of the population is fucking crazy. Okay, and take that down to 1%. That's 8 million people, man. 8 million people on the planet that are like, they are trying to destroy things. And then you got 8 million people on the other side really, really trying to create, and everybody else is in the middle, somewhere on that spectrum, right? So, look, I don't think we need any more political politicians. I will vote for Donald Trump because he is not a professional politician. I do not think he's a perfect man. I, quite frankly, never vote for the perfect guy to run the CEO and be the CEO of a big company. I do not want the perfect guy. The perfect guy is a liar. Okay, he is a closet freak. There is no perfect guys. I work for a perfect guy that went on to run one of the biggest energy companies in the world. This is not my friend Steve Berkshire that I'm talking about. He's a lovely, lovely man. But I work for a man that came from all the greatest schools in the world. I'm going to shame him a little bit. He knows who he is. He had a Bible on his desk all the time, opened up to adultery. Okay, he was married with kids. He was one of the most senior people in the company. And he was banging everything he could, dude. He was banging our customers, okay, wives. And they weren't small customers. And I found that appalling, okay? I don't find it appalling that he was a sexual, excited guy. What I found appalling was the hypocrisy of being Mr. Perfect and not having any people that didn't like him. I've never seen him do a deal in his life. You show me a great deal guy, I'll show you a guy that people don't like him, right? Because Grant's going to hold on that $4 million. Like, he's not going to just walk away from it. And that's the right thing to do. So I don't give a fuck what Trump did 22 years ago, quite frankly. What I care about is not going to war. So the way I look at that, put that list up again, would you?
Yeah.
You know, I look at this list and I go, okay, like, who is going to die on the sword and say, I will not commit war during my term, period, unless someone invades America or there's something that Americans vote to go to war and we send our own kids. We're not voting on these wars, folks. Okay. We slipped into this abyss of these people are supposed to get a vote on these wars. They can't just do the executive office squeeze every fucking time there's an incident. So you stick the guy up there, but like, who's the top three guys and Democrats? I mean, I'm more worried about them having nuclear codes, dude, because I'm afraid they'll pull the trigger accidentally. Then you look at Nikki Haley. Okay, she is total CIA military complex. I mean, is she going to keep us out of war? I don't think so. I don't even know who the other guy is next to Vivek or the other guy. They got no chance. Okay, the two guys at the bottom have turned into like circus people, sadly.
You're not hearing much from Kennedy.
Well, no, I'm talking about Christie and DeSantis, man.
Oh yeah,
I
well,
don't
I
even
wasn't even.
understand what DeSantis is in this race for. Be graceful, dude. Step
How
away from this.
how are
Christie.
they still in the race?
Well, no, there's something's wrong with this party. See, I don't think the red party is actually a party. I think it's a divided party,
Well, look at
right?
the amount of candidates and
None
look
of
where
these people
Vivek
should be in
stands and
this
look
thing.
where Trump stands. Trump and Vivek are not in the Republican Party. Even though they're red, they're different.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Vivek for a second, if you don't mind. You called him up, and he came over to your house. You had an interview with him. Can you talk about that as far as how that was and kind of what that experience was about?
Yeah. I mean, he spent 2 hours here. He and his crew drove out here. I mean, they didn't have to come out here, so he went out of his way. We were supposed to have lunch. We had such a good conversation. We never got to lunch. He actually took the enchiladas on the road with him. Guy walks into my front door, doesn't do a lot of posing and no entourage at all. Comes into my home. I look at him and say, "Hey, thanks a lot for coming. And by the way, I got some audio and camera equipment here. I think it'd be cool to just go live on this thing." And he's like, "Okay." I didn't have to ask media. I didn't have to ask marketing. 2 hours later, he's walking out. I said, "Hey, you want to edit any of this? Because I'm throwing the F-bomb around." And he's like, "No, I don't need to edit anything. See you later." And for me, I like that. Okay. I'm not even sure I could get that with Trump, but I like that, his openness and approach to the market, to the world, communicating. He's a very bright guy. He listens very well. I mean, I threw some ideas out and he ran with it. I mean, he thought they were interesting ideas, didn't have to overthink them. And yeah, no, I think, and I like his policy about going in and look, he knows education is so fouled. Like, I do believe he would remove the federal, whatever the
The education system.
education piece for 40 billion. That's 40 billion a year. Okay. That means over a 10-year history for a kid from, say, the 6th grade to the 18th year. Like, you're talking about $400 billion. Okay. half a trillion dollars to put a kid through school, right? A whole section of people. So, and we don't have a good product. So you wipe that out. I think he would do something on blockchain on the government spend, and he's going to try and carve out most of the over enforced, bloated enforcement police that work for the United States government now. It seems like they work for the blue guys to do whatever their enforcement strategies and pick the winners. They're picking winners now. So the only guys, I mean, look, I'm embarrassed by the Republican Party. I don't think there is a party. Okay, I think it's old school people. Like, if you're a professional politician, I don't think we should vote for you. You're better off voting for a guy like me, quite frankly. Like really, I'd go in 4 years ago. I don't give a fuck what you guys do with me. You need some outsiders, man, that just come in and run this like a business. That's the other thing I liked about Vivek. Every division, every department starts with a budget of zero. First year, come in here and present your proposal for why your budget is going to return the United States and citizens, give them a return on this investment. Now, that's a lot of stuff to do, but at least you have someone thinking about this the right way. He is very, very articulate. His debating skills will exceed anyone. I think he's clearly a professional debater, which I don't. What is that bad? I did a survey one day after that thing. A lot of people looked at that interview, and the survey came. I said, "What is his biggest weakness?" It was exactly the same thing that I tried to screw him up on when he was at my house. I was waiting for him to become a little skarky and, look down on your nose, or, guys that win at debates, sometimes they get a little, got you, like that. I saw a little bit of that initially, and I was like, hey, is that the way you're going to be? But I didn't see that. So I saw a good human being. He reminded me, he's not making, but his children are 2 and 4, man.
Yeah.
He has made a
That's not to joke
decision.
with.
He has made a decision to put his children through that. He might be evil, man. Probably is an ego freak. Okay. Anybody running for the office got to have a really healthy ego, a monster ego, probably. But a 2 and a 4-year-old, you're changing their trajectory forever, and not necessarily for the better. Like, look at most of these kids under these presidents. They ain't done so good.
I think Biden's a perfect example of what a model citizen should look like. What are you talking about? I mean, this guy definitely got it all together. I was curious. Did you see this on X, where now Ramaswamy's valedictorian speech when he graduated in 03 is circling around, and it is so impressive to see this guy speak publicly the way that he spoke then. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that he was getting ready to become someone great, whether it be in business or whether it be in politics. But you're right. Trump and Ramaswamy are the only two that are outsiders, yet I don't think they can run together. I don't think Ramaswamy can take that VP spot and actually get Trump over the finish line. I think he's got to go a different direction. And we've heard who, they're talking about Kristi Noem. They're talking about Ben Carson. They're talking about something to pull the vote where it's not completely parallel with Trump. And they feel like Vivek might be a little bit too parallel with him because he's not trashed him at all. He's the one who's sticking up for him on the campaign trail. So any thoughts on a VP pick?
I don't think he can ever say that he's going to do that. If I was him, I probably wouldn't want that job. I would probably want, head of digital. America needs to appoint someone to be the head of digital everything. Okay. Using the old world to deal with this new world, much less somebody like, I think Kamala Harris is in charge of AI. Oh man, we would do better with an AI version of Kamala. I mean,
wow, that's good. I like that.
I don't even know how that would be debatable. Okay. Like, I know no one that would vote for that woman. Okay, if you would vote for that woman, I'll give you $100. Just let me know who you are. Okay, you're
Let me
going to
check
need to
the
buy some
comments.
hamburgers. This can't possibly be the best situation for the United States of America. For God's sakes, man. I think if I'm him, I take, let me go get in the Treasury Department, somewhere, business, and then he's really, I think the Republicans would do well to play this strategy, because then if Trump gets in, you got another 8 years to go too, with Vivek coming in, because Vivek will wipe. He would do well. Does he need to be the VP? When was the last time a VP got to be the president? Wasn't the last time LBJ?
It was a while ago. I didn't see a whole lot of success on the Pence run. We haven't seen it on the Gore run. And I don't know
Have
how
we ever had a president take over, vice president take over from president since Kennedy was shot in the face?
willingly taking over. It was by force, kind of.
Sure looked like a coup to me.
Well, you might be onto something. And I guess that's the other point. Does it really matter who wins? Because it seems like, even if we do have an election or not have an election, it seems like we got a bunch of bozos running the whole show. So what's one more bozo? Oh my God, we're going to get deplatformed. I love this topic. It's great. Oh, Bush. Okay. So, well, no, because Bush, you got Herbert Walker, you got Walker. And I don't ever remember a Bush being a VP, except for
it went Bush. Oh yeah, I think you might be right though. Bush Senior came from the CIA. He was VP for who? Who was that for? Was that Reagan or?
It was.
No,
I thought it was Reagan.
He wasn't VP for Reagan, was he? Let me.
Reagan Bush. Somebody said it. Who was it? We got Mike Mack. Oh, he's on it. You know what?
Hey,
if you
Mac,
want,
how you doing there, Mackie? Hey, do you guys like this format? I've never done this before. Do y'all like it? Could you give me some thumbs up if you like this? Because I got a bunch of people asking me to do this all the time, but I don't think I can sit still for chunks of time and do this. I'm so undisciplined.
You know what's funny though? When we started this, you're like, okay, we'll go 30 minutes. We're now an hour and 15 minutes into it. And before
we take an intermission.
Yeah, I mean, we can take an intermission. We can cut it anytime. I just want to say for this, I don't do, everybody I smoke and drink, right? I do the worst possible habits I possibly can. That's why I drink water during the whole thing. The reason why I put the ticker on here, Gary, I'm curious, what's your thought on the ticker, that they can follow you on Instagram on the Gary Cardone? They can follow your YouTube at Gary Cardone. They can follow you on X Twitter if they're on another platform watching at Gary Cardone. Is that pretty simple?
That's exactly right, sir.
Okay. Well, you know what? I guess just follow at Gary Cardone on any social media or any outlet.
Send all your hate email. Send all your hate mail to Grant.
Yeah, at Grant Cardone for any comments, questions, or concerns. So
shit irritates me when y'all send me that shit, man. I don't need to know how bad I look. Okay. God damn, dude. Be nice to people. Okay, please.
Dude, you were getting all kinds of compliments on tonight. So they think you're the better looking. And I got to give Grant a little credit about it, because the fact is, I don't know, man, you guys look like twins to me, but you act completely different. You have different interests and different ways of dealing.
That is a fact, my friend.
Oh, well, this has been fun. By the way, last topic, and then we'll wrap, because I know that
I wasn't suggesting. I'm having fun. I just wanted to know if people enjoyed this format over. See, because some people are going, "Hey, it's better to be on Spaces because other people can talk."
Yeah, definitely.
And I like that idea. I would love people. I think that's what you're trying to do with the questions, though, right? You're saying, "Hey, smash me questions," but I can only see this. I can't see Facebook and all that stuff.
Well, so the funny thing is, though, I like to have a controlled conversation, but I also like to get input. And then when we go to Spaces, guys, we get 12 people. We can rotate you. So that can be an endless conversation of questions. Dude, Lisa's like, he's a hottie. And yeah, she is talking about you. So I'm just saying.
Go get it, Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa King. She's on Facebook right now, and she's a good friend. So she's the one who came up.
Storm, I actually said to myself 6 months ago, I said, you know what? I bet I meet a woman through this right here. I'm going to meet a woman. And it sounds crazy, right? But it's just it's amazing how quickly our world is changing. When I can say something like that and mean it, and really and great, because I think if you could see some benefits of this type of platform bringing people together without some of the dangerous stuff that happens, right? Like in bars and stuff like that. One, it's a much, much bigger universe here than a bar on a lot or at a location or a party. Anyway, it's kind of funny.
We get
I
to
mean, I
know
met
more.
you, right? We
I
haven't
know.
had a date yet, but
No,
I
and
do
that's
like
great.
married men, man.
I just don't know about that whole guy situation thing. We like the opposite sex. I'm sorry. Somebody said Mays and Gary Cardone. That was ML. I don't know.
Hey, I sent Maze an invite to my party a year ago, and she just didn't even show.
Oh, we got to
So
get her to the next one. I know her
yeah.
real name too, so I've cash apped her for a Christmas thing. So about the time you were inviting her to the Christmas thing, I was giving her money to give away for charity, and I think Lisa remembers that too. McGenna was in it as well. You got a chance to meet McGenna. How was that?
McGenna is just such a wonderful spirit. I mean, she flew down to Miami. I was there for a couple of days. Flew to Miami, joined me at a party. I snuck her into a party that I was invited to. McGenna, do you remember who your name was? I had a ticket for somebody else. I think I called her Andy. I said, "Listen, your name's Andy. Andy's a good name for a chick. I think Andy's a sexy, sexy name for a woman." And I said, "Hey, your name's Andy T. I won't tell you the last name." And she showed up, dude, all by herself. Didn't like text me 1,000 times. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Like she just made her way into the party, and it wasn't easy. It was Patrick Bet David's party, and it was fun, man. But she's so totally cool.
Yeah.
Have you
Well,
met her?
I have. And matter of fact, that was also in Miami, but just at a different year. So we met last year, and she's always at Grant stuff. She loved that, and she's saying on undercover, and she's not disclosing the last name, so that's smart. So everybody, all the girls on Facebook are like, now you can call me Andy anytime. So maybe this is a dating service. I don't know. We could turn this into one. I get a little bit of a commission. I don't know how that works, but we'll make it work for you.
I'll give you the same gig all those dating sites take, man.
We'll just wait until Elon turns X into a dating site, and then it becomes a financial platform. It's just going to be nuts. We always have that speculation, and I think that the reason why we got to have this whole thing, we're just trying it out. We're experimenting. We like to hear from you, and it's not just that we want the conversation. It's just that we tried it just to see what would happen, and maybe we have this. We could have up to 5 people in here. I don't know if you know that or not. But we can technically have 5 people.
Why don't you bring somebody up?
Well, I'm not bringing anybody up because I have to send them the link to the URL, and then they come in on through like StreamYard, and then we simulcast, and then we can ask. We can do that in the future. So let's just say we have a couple of spaces, and we've got some strong voices like a Mike Mack or a McGenna or a Lisa, and we want to bring them into the conversation, and we talk about, one thing or another. We could actually segment topics out. This could be a long distance podcasting on X. Literally, we could do it anytime, any place, anyhow. It's great. What are your thoughts?
I think that, dude, I think this media thing's really it has me very, very intrigued. And for me to get intrigued over the media thing is really to me, a monster indicator of an opportunity here, because this does not naturally suit me. To do this, I find it really hard to, get on a space or especially getting in front of a camera, and then all of a sudden people take over this theory that, oh, I actually know something about something. I don't know why I feel that way, but I don't want to be responsible for someone making a move based on what I said. I can barely do it for myself. Without being terrified half the time. So I just have a resistance to it, man. And I don't know. My mom told me a long time ago, you would not have ever thought this, but like, you could build Johnny Carson again right now. Johnny Carson's going to get built right now. It's going to happen. And I was thinking about that, and he was extremely introverted, extremely. Wouldn't go to parties, like. So, I actually think we're coming around, dude. Like it's a 70, 80-year cycle, and we're coming back around where if you notice, I have been really intent on being vulgarly wholesome in everything I do. Vulgarly wholesome. How you like that?
Couldn't have been put any better.
And I think there is, my bet is there is a monster market that wants genuine, authentic, and they don't want to be pitch stuff all the time. Yeah. I think there's a big, big, big market for that authentic, and kind of an even conversation instead of this old paradigm of, well, look at me, I have a lot of money, so I get more voice. No, the only reason I'm really here is because I actually can communicate a story fairly well. Now, I've always had the gift of being able to paint a picture for somebody else to be able to see what I saw, and they didn't necessarily have to agree with it. But as long as you can hold someone's attention on an idea, even though they don't agree with you, it allows me to go, okay, I squeezed in a little bit of their gray matter. He's thinking about it. Okay. And that's to me what somebody telling a story or debating with somebody and being able to see where their boundaries or issues are with a debate. This is an unbelievable space for us to be able to be cool debaters, and start to understand other better ideas.
Yeah.
Just through a healthy debate, man. And that's starting to happen much, much more than it did on Clubhouse, for sure.
That was I don't want to say toxic sewer, but that wasn't debate. That was just trash and just a dumpster fire. Just everybody came to watch. So, I had this last night, and Grant came and had a few comments on our live last night because I interviewed a guy who was very well known for health and nutrition, helped me kind of get started in the, journey to health and wellness 9 years ago. And what was interesting about that is I don't have the expertise that this guy had, but everybody wanted to tune in to get a little bit of peace because people would pay just to sit with him 50, 60, 70 bucks for 15 minutes to get a little piece of what he had. And so for somebody like you who comes from oil and gas, who is extremely successful in life, they don't get to have that fireside chat or that sit down conversation and hear from you intimately about what you really think. Because we're not pitching anything here. We're just able to talk about topics, speak our mind. I might push back on something. You might disagree with something. Women are crazy. That is an undebatable topic. And I believe that you're going to agree with me on that. Most of them are, but not all of them. And I don't think about that 2%. When you talked about that earlier, I think about 8 million being crazy. I think 60 to 80% of our government is, and I think that just needs just a complete house cleaning. But we'll stop it with the political stuff for a second. I'm curious what you think, because this has been a hot topic. As the money situation is going on right now, you just had a conversation with someone about a possible black swan being the only way to have a recession in 2024. You knew this conversation was probably going to happen tonight. How did that conversation go? What do you think maybe a couple of scenarios for black swans could be?
I guess you're thinking about the Kitco recent Kitco, man, that thing. Whew. I think she didn't like me at the end of the deal.
No.
I'd bet money that by end of August we have some type of an event, cyber event. Now there's heart attacks being, associated with COVID strain 37.B, section 4. Some banking crisis, dude, like a small nuke goes off somewhere. Like this world is just it's a shit show. I mean, I just don't even think there's any other way to put it.
Are they preparing us? They have a movie come out that talks about cyber attacks and power grid. We talk about wars that are going on right now on 4 or 5 different fronts, 2 of them being advertised daily to us, and the other 3 are quietly kind of creeping up. And you know what I'm talking about: Venezuela, Guyana. You think about Taiwan, China. You think about now Yemen, Saudi Arabia. You're looking at Egypt. You're looking at North Korea wanting to pump things back up. What the heck, dude? I mean, I guess a black swan event could be more likely than it seems to be in 2024 than in 2023, because it seems like everything has backslid. So in that case, we're not doomsdayers, but I would say that if you do see a recession, where do you see you protecting yourself? What's the path forward for Gary Cardone?
I don't think we're going to see a recession. I think we're either going to see global conflict, civil war, massive civil unrest, and leading to a depression, or we're going to see the stock market explode. Bitcoin will explode. Gold will explode. Silver will explode. They're going to print so much money. I think China's already printing so much money. China's in so much trouble. It's unbelievable. Their consumption's off 12%, man. Nobody's talking about it. Okay. You can just look at the crude oil stocks and go, wow, they pulled 1,000,007 barrels off the market and the price went down. They pulled 1,000,007 barrels off the market and the price went down. That's 1% of the supply. And now OPEC's talking about doing another 1,000,000 barrels. Why? Well, if the demand is so great everywhere, why the fuck are you dropping 2.7 million barrels off the market, which, by the way, just extends the oil supply forever? And I'll bet you a lot of money that in the next 3 years, you're going to see Europe launch some monster treasury bond or green energy bond, and they're going to build nukes over the entirety of Europe. What does that do to the oil price? Because that's going to have oil barrels and nat gas move everywhere but Europe. And I guarantee you this is what Europe's going to do, because it's the only way they can get out of it. Hey, you know what? We need to go green. Somebody blew up those pipelines into Europe, and we need to go green because we're a good green country and we want to do our part of the Swedish and Switzerland climate thing while China dumps massive amounts of CO2 in the market and blah, 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 right? But the consequences, you now have multiple allies of the United States now moving into survival skills, survival actions to save their areas. And I wouldn't blame them for putting up a bunch of nukes. I mean, actually, they're irresponsible not to have their own energy source. It's fucking irresponsible, okay? They don't even make their own food, man. They produce nothing in Europe anymore.
So they're dependent.
Migrants. They actually are the bathtub, the gutter for the migration from ISIS, Middle East, Ukraine. 20 million people, man. Ukraine, kids, children, women. Who's gonna put them in the hospital when they get sick?
Well, I just look at Europe changing completely. Like the complexion of the way that the landscape looks now is going to be nothing like it is now in 2 years. Even 2 years, that soon. We're seeing it already. They won't take refugees in there. They've got to go over here. They've got to do this. They've got to do that. But is it almost like a human trade with resources at this point? Because it seems like that's what Russia and Ukraine's about.
Well, I think Russia and Ukraine's about trillions of dollars of minerals, dude, sitting underneath the Ukrainian on Ukrainian soil. I mean, that's like they're rich in a lot of things that Putin would want, including a warm water port. And you know, look, guys, as Americans, okay, I have thought the Ukrainian thing was absolutely criminal that we were involved, because you cannot ask the Russian government to sit there while Nikki Haley wants to drop nukes on Ukrainian soil. Okay, like that would be akin to Russia dropping nukes in Cuba. Okay, and going, hey, look, we're going to drop 40 nukes here, and you guys just trust us.
We'll be a-okay. We'll protect you.
Like, it's just stupid. Okay. Americans have become so stupid with their hubris, their thoughts about sticking their, like, we want something. Okay. There's something there. And I just don't think you can keep making enemies. It is an excellent way to get your ass kicked, dude. It's just a matter of time before the other club becomes so big, they kick your ass. I don't care how many dollars you have. They just don't like you anymore.
I'll say this, though. I think we're sick and tired of being sold war. I mean, we're going on 2 years. It's just exhaustive at this point. I mean, how much more money are we going to get?
Hey, dude, it's going on since 1950.
Well, I'm talking like actively. We had 4 years where we didn't have this issue. We didn't have people begging us for money. And 2020, all of a sudden, it just kicks up and we're just opening up the bank and it's for our own good and their good and the world's good. Don't get me started, Gary. I ran out of water, so my mouth's going to dry up. But
yeah, but but I think that's why you got to get set up, bro. I got my little refrigerator right here.
Get some liquid death that you're drinking. I saw a little bit of that can.
This water, only water I've ever been able to drink.
Yeah.
I can't drink water for some reason. I don't like it, but I like this drink.
So here's the crazy part. I had an event last year. They gave me 224 cases of liquid death. I gave every single one of them away. I'm way too nice, man. We could have been stocked for like at least
40 cases. Man.
Yeah.
Why'd they give you those?
They just do it because companies like Bang, Rain, they give us all this. They give us 1,400 cases to give to athletes.
You guys probably need to send me some cases, and I'll do this all day long for you. Okay? It'll be the only advertisement I do, but this water is good.
Let's find the CEO and let's see if we can put him as an official sponsor for the Liquid Death Studio with Gary Cardone and Matt Storm. I like that idea. Now you're cooking, dude.
Mark Yusko, if you see this, I know you're a big investor in Liquid Death. Give me the name of the CEO and set me up for a meeting. We ought to be able to do this because I do love the water. I will promote something I drink.
Man, so I even have a personal servant. Did you just see that? Yeah.
That was good. Hey, honey, that was awesome. Awesome, baby. Awesome.
She liked that. Okay. So she gave me a thumbs up too, but she's on a water fast. She's on a 3-day water fast, Gary. I don't know.
She's wearing her apron when she comes in. No apron.
No, she's got like a Snuggie.
No apron at all.
No, not well. She got the Snuggie. I mean, we got the kids here, so oh my God, now we're getting we're getting good stuff now. How did we go there? I don't know. We'll come back to it. So Liquid Death. Let's plan on that, and I think we could kick up some more topics. But if you like this format, what we can do is we can invite, and man, we could go after it. We could have 2 on one side, 2 on another. That's been a possibility and talked about. But
that would be a good cycle for a debate, man.
That's what I'm saying. What do you think?
I like that, actually.
And we could just pick the topic and then just put 2 for, 2 against, and let's talk about it.
You'd need a moderator, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And the problem is if your brother comes on,
because he's such a loudmouth guy.
Dude, we can't moderate. Like I would, and you were the last night we were like, why are you so quiet, dude? I'm like, I can't get in between you guys because Grant's here, Gary's here, and like, y'all are doing. I'm just gonna control this down here. Y'all go after it. It is so fun though.
You is though you're not willing to like put his ethics in. You just need to mute the little fuck. Like I threw him out of the room once. You remember that?
We've rugged the room a few times, everybody. So for those of you who are watching on X, when you start talking about Bitcoin and he pulls the rug from you, and you start talking about real estate and you pull the rug from him, that's just brotherly love, man. Even if there's 500 people in the room, it's going down. Just expect it to automatically shut down.
Hey, dude, he has not done it to me since then. I'm just not even going into the rooms with him anymore. I blocked him.
Oh, God. Oh my God. But you know what? It is fun though. We need that kind of stuff because I don't know. I just feel like there's just more of a chemistry there, and knowing the role to kind of shift in there. It's like that situational awareness. You know who the alpha is. And if a new alpha comes in, let him have a little room, have some fun with it because it's fun. People love it, dude. The audience craves it. The room got up to one of our largest rooms. I don't know if you saw that, but when I sent you what the end results were and the stats were, that was the largest room we've ever had.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I rarely look at all that. Should I look at all that? Those analytics?
No, because we're not here for analytics. We're not here for clicks. We're not here for likes. We're not here for followers. We're here just to talk about stuff, have some fun, let loose. And you know what? Maybe disagree a little bit. And so I think that's what people come in. They automatically think you have to agree with the host. And I love the fact that when Tina came in, Bitcoin Tina, boy, that guy, he was a sight for sore eyes. Was he just going? He would talk more than Grant. And so he even
Well,
gave her the trophy for more.
in fairness to him, he did knock somebody down that was spewing a bunch of bullshit. Right. Like that really got him upset. But I like that guy. I was a little surprised he went off, kind of got a little, I don't think his meds or something. Maybe
he had a hair trigger
or something, but he was like, poof, him and Mike just went after each other. Mike apologized later on it. Bro, I had to let him go because I was paying him back for that other guy he smashed and rubbed into the ground.
That was good. And then your boy, who you had the poll with, he lobbied for the poll and ended up winning at like the second hour when the poll was going. So, look, we have fun at what we do. We love this, and frankly,
your ability to do a survey is horrible, dude.
That's the first survey I ever did. I'm not a survey guy. I kept saying, Gary, do the survey, dude.
Surveys are like they are. There is a trick to doing it. Not a trick, but there's a way to do a proper survey. Most surveys are horrible.
Yeah. No, you're right. And even, if they're biased surveys, they don't come out very well. I'm the Nest guy, okay? For those of you on X, I'm the Nest guy. I put the stuff in the Nest. Gary's in charge of polls from now on. Is that a deal?
Okay. I still don't know how to post this shit.
I don't either. It's just,
What else, man? What do you think 2024 is going to bring?
Well, let's just get back to this. Here's what I think. And here's what I was thinking about when we were thinking about this topic. When it comes to housing, I know we just go from liquid death to polls and posts, and we start talking about housing. When it comes to housing, if let's just say the Fed starts to cut, and maybe mid-year next year they start, I think the values are going to go through the roof because there's hardly any inventory. We have a housing shortage, and I'm not trying to say these talking points that we typically hear. I'm just thinking the value of the house, what someone's willing to pay for my house in a year, if rates are at 4%, is probably going to be double what it's worth right now because they want to get into the house. And you know what? I don't think everybody wants to rent. I think there's a segment of the market that's always going to rent and want to rent. I also think home ownership is not dead. And to be able to have that, I think that's going to shake up the market. The market has been so uncharacteristically, the word is unpredictable, right? You don't really know if rates go up. We thought that was going to cool everything off, and maybe it slowed the housing market a little bit, but people were still buying. They can buy with cash. They can, refi later and do an ARM. I honestly think our home values are going to shoot through the roof because we were so undervalued in Texas, and I think Florida is now starting to see that, where you could go buy in Miami and Fort Lauderdale 10 years ago, and now if you go buy, you're paying a premium. But I still think it's going to go through the roof here. So that's my take on housing. What are your thoughts?
I'm not nearly as bullish as you are on housing. I think it has a lot of look. The truth is, I think I think we're moving into an economy that is a transient economy, and owning a home is going to come with a lot of cost. And that one of those is the lack of flexibility to move around. I prefer to rent. I will tell you, I love the freedom to rent, man. And I also think that most, like your kids, aren't going to own a home ever. They're going to rent because they're not going to be able to afford a home. Like just your scenario just now, your kids will never afford a home if they double. I don't think they double. I think right now what we have is we have an interest rate market that was mismanaged, and people that are in homes that are 80, 70, 60 who really want to go into an apartment building. They will end their life, most of them, in an apartment building or a, club.
Assisted living, senior living. Yeah.
That's all rental. Okay. I mean, I think that's an awesome market right there. The assisted living market. If you don't have the federal government, state government, everybody else government making you shove needles in people. See, I would never do that. I would never be in that business because I'd be like, nope, I'll get the phone call one day. I have to shove needles in people's bodies. So I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So where do we think we're priced out? Do you think it's in the insurance? Do you think it's in just the property taxes, the home ownership?
I don't see any property moving in Florida right now. Homes are not moving in Florida. I have 2 great homes, and there's nobody looking at them. Now, that tells me it's overpriced. because if the price was right, you'd find a buyer. But there is a liquidity problem, and that is half of this problem. And see, this is what the government's been doing. They blow up pipelines in other countries, create supply shock. They go to war, create a supply shock. They embargo certain races of energy as if it's one barrel of crude oil isn't one barrel. I mean, if they think there's a Russian flag flying around on these barrels, they're fucking confused, okay? The only stuff you can digitally track the way they want to embargo is crypto, quite frankly, is Bitcoin. So those barrels, you know, I remember a time when ISIS had barrels, they were stealing barrels, you know, going in and blowing up refineries, stealing barrels and selling them for $30, $40 discount. Hey, those are embargoed. Well, tell Goldman's desk in Iraq that, because they saw an opportunity to make $40 premium and they bought it through a middleman that had no flag of bad nature related to that middleman. So not one barrel stopped flowing. All that happened was that you increased the margins for people that were willing to take some risk and move shit around, do some logistics. So it doesn't work. It never works. Embargoes don't work.
Sanctions.
Fucking with ships and dams and look what's happening. You've disrupted a lot of shit. All the prices have come down. The only prices that haven't come down are the ones that are associated with this interest rate move. And then Grant's going to get an opportunity to buy a bunch of commercial real estate, and the people that invest with him, I'll probably do a little piece with them. And just for, you know, transparency, like I haven't invested with Grant in years of any new money in real estate. And there's a number of reasons for that. It wasn't all just I didn't like the market, but I did not like the market in the last 2 years. But to be able to buy real estate now for 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar, if you're long cash, that starts to be very compelling, even up against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty bullish Bitcoin. So 2024, do you see any like Texas is just going crazy right now? Y'all are just exploding.
Yeah. You know, if you're by water, and I know that you're kind of in the, I guess the west coast of Florida, we have the second largest port next to Long Beach. So as you drive through here, you're seeing industrial builds like I have never ever seen at a scale and a rapid pace that is going all across. Like where I live, I can drive 20 minutes and I see probably 40 to 50 square miles being developed, and it's immediate. Like there's like all hands on deck. So I do see a huge spike in goods distribution. Oil and gas is strong. There's just so many different markets here in Texas that I think parts of Texas are booming, but I also think other parts of Texas are suffering. And I think that's because if you move into Austin, you know, that's tech. If you move into Dallas, Fort Worth, that's a certain market. Your oil and gas and energy in Houston, and you used to live in Houston, so you know. It's going to be interesting to see what 2024 brings, because as the EV market comes online, I still think it's not going to replace as fast as they want it to. More importantly, there's always going to be need for nat gas and oil. There just is. You can't get around it. So I think that, you know, people are realizing that, but dude, our markets are strong and our housing is starting to finally catch up as far as pricing. We were so undervalued and so underpriced on single family and even multifamily homes. The multifamily market's just stupid crazy. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're always the top 3 to top 5 in multifamily and probably the top 6 to top 10 in single. In Houston and Dallas are those two strong markets, and that's what really drives Texas. But now you've got West Texas that's starting to emerge. And I would just be curious to see how that compares with Florida, because we're the 4th largest economy. Texas is. And, you know, California is the 2nd largest. And that just brings jobs. It brings families. It brings, you know, activity. It brings wealth. Going to be a big 2024. That's why I hate leaving. But you know what? If there's another opportunity, there's always worth exploration. How about we just leave that there?
But you're talking about going to places that offer bigger, better opportunities.
Yep.
I mean, I'll tell you something. If you come to, if you guys were to come to Florida, I've only known one person that came here that left.
Who was it?
It was a guy that evidently he had he thought he had an allergy to the sun. Hated the weather here. Like, and so, but he's the only human being that's ever come from the north that said, "Hey, I just can't handle it here. My skin does something," or I don't know. Um, but like I could go anywhere I wanted to, and I just love it here. I like, I was 5 minutes late to the show, but I drove downtown. I live in Tierra Verde. I drove to downtown to get a haircut. Was able to park. Did all that in an hour and a half, and it takes me 15 minutes to get to downtown St. Pete, and it takes me 13 seconds to touch the water, and it's 3-minute drive to the highest rated beaches in the United States, in a really, really with a bunch of infrastructure. I mean, it's 25 minutes to 2 major airports, man.
Yep.
And the Tampa airport is rated second best airport in the United States. And for a guy that travels a lot, let me tell you, that freaking airport is awesome. So
now
there's just a lot of cool things. Huh?
Well, the cat's out of the bag. Everybody's asking if we're moving to Florida. No, the answer is no. My wife is a beach girl, and I know the beaches are nicer in Florida. So we'll be just visiting and, here and there and kind of tapping our foot in the water because she's a scuba diver and she loves clearer water than the junky old nasty Galveston. And, you're right, though. I mean, you think about commerce in Florida, you think about you've got what? Tampa International. What else do you have close to you?
And then St. Pete. St. Pete's got it's not a small airport. It can handle any military piece of equipment in the world. So it's St. Pete to me. It's a real option. I mean, because the way I travel, the St. Pete airport is really cool because it has expansive capability. All our highways, like we could add, like in Houston, it's hard to add 6 lanes anymore. In Miami, it's impossible. Okay, you're going to have to do hyper transport. I mean, there's one billionaire down there going, "Hey, they're going to create hovercraft in Miami because the problem's so big." I mean, I met a guy the other day, the billionaire. He's like, "We're going to make this shit work right here," because they realize they're congested. But the congestion capability here, it's a big port. We have a big port, not the biggest port in the world, but like you could just stack more and more, not stack them, but go sideways. And there's nowhere else to go in Miami.
Yeah. Well,
you're going to overpay and you're going to have less quality because like it is such tight supply and demand there with, do you really want to compete with billionaires and people from Wall Street coming down that are making $3 million a year? And they're used to like, oh, well, I'm used to paying a stupid amount of money for some place that's with a window. They're like, they look at 6,000 square feet and they're like, wow, it's on the water, dude. I'll pay you $6 million for it right now. Thank you.
Well, you have the same weather. You have hurricanes there. It is the Sunshine State from what I recall. You've got the same climate and, it's just kind of a parallel move. But, as you think about it, you got St. Pete, you got Tampa, you got all those places. And that's really kind of what's appealing. So if there were ever a move, it would be an easy transition to be able to say, look, if there's an opportunity, it makes sense because you're not taking them up to New York City where you got to bundle up every, 4 months out of the year, or, you're going to another city where it's like blue and, you're just completely restricted. So I think it's an easy acclimation. The question is, what's the opportunity? And that's where I think that the great thing about Florida is you're going to have the same kind of property taxes, the same kind of government. And now if you can assimilate something in your skill set to be able to translate that, that's why Kevin G's coming down. By the way, we are going to be meeting for lunch. Kevin's going to be down there. And I've got a few friends a few athletes that are coming to my show. So like literally there's going to be meeting after meeting after meeting 2 days straight. And that's what we love. So can't wait for the Tampa visit.
Yeah, there's a lot of people here. There are. You coming down like the 9th or something, right?
Yeah, we're the 9th through the 11th, and there's probably 6 people on the list to be able to kind of circulate in and just get a little bit of time with. But those are great things. We're allowed to do that, And I think you and I have kind of our lives set up to where if it's like, look, if you want to go hang out with, Patrick David at a private party, you can do that. You can go to Art Basel. You can do those things because that gives us the freedom to do it. Not many people can do that. They're stuck or bound by a position or a career or a family or, some other obstacle. And we don't have those obstacles. So sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's right. For sure, man. For sure.
Well, I will say this. My battery's going to die. I hate it. But, we have carried the audience the entire coming up on 2 hours.
Can you tell me how many people showed up here? I see. I don't know how to.
We'll get the analytics when I get off, but I will say that on all platforms, here's what platforms we're on, just to let you know. And that's what I friend requested you on Facebook for. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, 2 channels on YouTube, as well as X Twitter. I could have technically gotten the Instagram live going, but there's a little bit of feedback still. So when we were doing tech check, I still can't shake that. So I got to call Instagram and figure out how to stream key that. But dude, we could simulcast literally on 7 platforms all at the same time.
That's amazing to me. Okay.
It's insane.
Just amazing. I'm sorry you're having an audio problem. It could be me, So
no, it's not you. I've tried it with other folks. And so I've tried it 4 times, not just with you tonight, but I'm talking like throughout. It's brand new. So here's the thing. This week, we couldn't see the X comments. We finally, they found a way to put the X comments on my StreamYard. So now as I'm able to interact, I see Crystal Z said her senior care living that she was paying was 20 grand a month, and Lisa's just all about it. Yeah.
That's what that is. So McGinna is on Facebook right now. Is that what that little sign says?
Yep.
Lisa King's on Facebook.
Yep.
And Crystal, 20 grand a month. Is that real, dude? That's crazy.
And you see Lori say property taxes, $20K per person for assisted living in Florida. Oh. And what do you think about this? Jen said rates won't come down as fast as people think they will. And, I've kind of heard quite the opposite on some of the expert predictions. And I kind of agree with Jen. Why bring them down so fast and why completely disrupt that market? But I think she's got a point. We'll see.
Well, you know what? All that matters is these Fed rates are bullshit. What matters is, can I borrow $100 million on a really good deal at 5.5%, 6% interest rate, or is it going to cost 15? And if you go out to the hard money market, Grant's telling me he's starting to get people interested in 10 years at 5.5 again. See, it doesn't matter that it has to come down really fast. All that has to happen is that you start going the other direction. And in order to go the other direction, you got to stop. You stop first, and then you start going the other direction. And this market has too much money. Interest rates cannot go up and stay up. They'll bankrupt everything. And they're going to flood the market with quantitative easing likes we've never seen. We have one more big fat run at this, I think. Big fat run. And the truth is, everyone really wants them to release the dragon, the Kraken. They want to release the printer, okay? You guys love the printer. You do. Everybody likes it. I think even the Bitcoin guys like it because it'll do good for Bitcoin. So human nature is going to be, hey, let's take the easy path. I can't pay the maker right now. Not one human being is going to get elected to office saying, we're going to take interest rates to 12%. And we're going to let all the commercial real estate go bankrupt. And we're going to move into a depression. That ain't going to happen, man. So we'll have one or two more runs. A lot of volatility. And I think having a lot of cash on the sidelines and a lot of liquidity, this is why I don't like the housing play, personal housing play. See, I would rather rent. Excuse me, I got a little cold.
Keep talking.
I would rather rent the house and invest in something that was generating some revenue or some upside. That's all I mean by the real estate play. I just don't think no one cares if I rent or own. Like, it's not like I go on a date and the guy look. I thought you looked funny there for a second. It's not like I go on a date and the girl says, well, hey, listen, to be qualified, I have to know if you own and what's your mortgage rate, by the way, big boy. Like nobody does that, man. So
Well, some of those gold diggers do. You never know. They're high value women.
not if they're smart.
Well,
They don't do it.
they're usually smart by camouflaging it some way, but man, these younger women, man, that's why I say they're crazy. I hate going back to this and derailing you, but I'm going to tell you right now, a 40-year-old woman is much different from a 25-year-old these days. I don't know where they came from. So, McGinnis, you're welcome, and Lisa, you're welcome. I see those ladies in there. Lori, you're welcome too. You agree? Thank you.
I don't disagree with you, buddy. I do not disagree. So, what's our last question or comment that we're going to make, and then close this before your battery loses its?
I just switched it. I would just say this. There have been a lot of great people. Richard Berry's on. He says, let's see what he says. Dude, I got to like put my glasses on. You're getting, when you start turning 50, you got to see these things. So let's see here. Printer go burr. Oh my God. Pump my bags. I don't know what that means at all. Yeah. Okay. So Richard said,
that means that when they print the money, dude, her tokens are going to explode in value.
Is it her? Yeah, Sean could go either way. Totally get it. Yeah, it's going to destroy us. That's what Richard said. That's your boy, Richard Berry, by the way, dude. He's always one of the most lively in the room. I love talking about people that we interact with in the rooms, because now that they can see us moving instead of just hearing us, it's a whole different experience for them. And then when we start bringing them on, if that's the case, I might just do this with people from, X, and just, I don't know, man. I just think there's
maybe we do that. Maybe we close this session off and then go run a space in, like, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes, run a space and get everybody to tell us what we did right, wrong, and what you want to see next time. That would be awesome to hear people say.
You want to do that?
Well, let's see if the audience has any interest in it. Ain't nobody doing anything right before New Year's Eve anyway.
I know. What's the point? Tomorrow's the big day.
I'll go pour a drink and come on spaces with you in about 15.
You got a liquid death. You're hosting, right?
I'll do whatever. You can host.
I've never hosted a room, and I don't know how to do it. So we need you to host, and then I'll just show up as a sidekick.
I'll smoke a cigarette, and then we'll come back in, man.
All right. Well, I'll go. Let's see. I'll smoke some crack, and I'll be like ready to go. I don't even know how to do that. What does crack look like?
I wouldn't know.
White? Is it? I don't know. Anyway,
I think you need to go watch a movie on Netflix.
I got to go watch some Narcos, or, I did watch Breaking Bad. That's one thing that I do watch and binge on every single year. I got to tell you, dude, there's nothing that beats that classic Walter White. You guys,
you watch that every year?
Every year, I'll binge on it. It'll take me 3 days to get through all 5 seasons. Freaking love it, dude.
It's a great show.
You can't beat it. All right. Well, it sounds like Corey's going to meet us there. You go take care of your thing. I'll take care of mine. Guys, gals, Spaces is going to open in about 10, 15, 20 minutes. Look for Gary's Space. We'll retweet it out. If you want to set up the title, I'll start sending out the reminder. We'll retweet. Is that a deal?
Yippee-yi-yo, mofo. See you in a little bit.
I love it. Take care, everybody. Hope to see you on Spaces very soon.